there have been interesting ripples in the gaming community recently over a recent AAA release called Crimson Desert.
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of more like maybe a double A, a 2.5A.
Well, everyone keeps saying AAA. I read articles and people kept saying, look, a AAA studio knows how to make a game, finally.
How utterly detached professional game reviews have become from the way players actually experience games and how irrelevant their opinions actually are, and about what happens when a AAA studio finally gets it right.
So why do you say it's not AAA? Tell me about the developer of this game, Crimson Desert.
I think Pearl Abyss is the name of the developer. Other than Black Desert Online, which is in like a MMORPG, I don't really know any other game that anyone has mentioned that they've made. Of which the one that we're discussing, Crimson Desert, which is like the current big, buzzy, popular one.
Yeah, Black Desert from 2014 is their first and only release, or up there. I mean, I guess not counting Black Desert Mobile.
But so this is their sophomore album, basically.
Sure, they have 1,300 employees, though.
That's a lot of people.
So what's an American AAA company? How many Bungie? What's Bungie?
Bungie, yes. I was about to say Bungie, too.
How many employees does Bungie have?
Something
Bungie
crazy.
has...
Or Bethesda.
Well, how come this doesn't just give a count?
It's fluctuating.
As of 2024, 850.
Okay.
You were expecting me?
Well, you Greymanes are a hard lot to kill, clawing your way back from death's door over and over. How'd you do it? Let's find out, shall we?
But you bought Crimson Desert. You made a very clear point to me, out of nowhere, that you didn't pre-order this game.
Right. It was a day one purchase.
Alex was like, I want to talk about this game.
Day +1.
I didn't even reply to the text before he instantly said, I didn't pre-order it.
You were busy at work, so I didn't want to bother you about that.
But it was but still, it was just, I thought it was hilarious because Alex seemed to think that I was going to judge him for pre-ordering a game, and he wanted to get his
I didn't want
disclaimer in.
Yeah, I was like, I learned my lesson from Starfield, so yeah.
So was Starfield the final straw where you're like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore?
Yeah,
okay.
Which is sad because it's a first-person sci-fi shooter. I guess you would say shooter. I guess.
Yeah, it's like Fallout.
A Bethesda. Yeah, it's honestly, it's just Fallout with a with a space sci-fi skin, not an Adam Punk skin.
Okay, but see on top. But I don't. Oh my God, Alex.
Sorry.
Do you need a cough drop?
I just need a brand new set of lungs.
I on paper, I'm fine with Fallout in space. That's what I bought the Outer Worlds as,
Yeah.
So
developers of a previous Fallout game,
Obsidian, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So on paper, I'm fine with that. But everything I saw of it, everything I heard from you, and when I watched you play, that's a game where now that I have a good computer, if it dropped to like $15 on a Steam sale, I'd buy it for that price.
At that point, yeah.
But like, it makes me concerned about Fallout 5.
Yeah. Well, before that, there's a lot of concern about Elder Scrolls 6,
right.
Which I just feel like every single Bethesda game going forward at this point, it's like you're going to accept that there's going to be a certain level of jank associated with it.
Well,
if you really decide to go ahead and plunge for it, get it when it's like 60% off, just because.
I mean, jank has been a part of Bungie for quite a long time, though. Like, I mean, it's not
Bethesda.
Did I say Bungie? Sorry, Bethesda.
I mean, if you look at modern day Bungie, I mean, the company, plans are jank.
But I'm saying Fallout 3, New Vegas. I mean, New Vegas wasn't Bethesda, but like Fallout 4, Skyrim, any of the like Oblivion.
Yep.
Jank is par for the course with them, and that's fine. I think jank is not the major problem of Starfield.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, like my review of that from a few years ago kind of talks about that. I do know that they are coming out with, I guess it's called like Starfield 2.0, or they're like basically redoing a whole bunch of stuff, but it's like the underlying problems there are not going to be able to be fixed with, it's almost like you guys have to sort of build the whole thing from the ground up. But excuse me. But anyways, the popular cheerleader tonight is Crimson Desert, created by Pearl Abyss. It's the current AAA big title, which has already kind of been met with a lot of it's like an inverse bell curve. It's sort of like, it's like up here and then down there and then up here again, where it's like a lot of people really, really like it, or a lot of people really, really dislike it. And it's this odd thing where many people are pointing towards the reviews from the gaming media journalism sites as saying that, oh, hey, they gave this a really bad rating, so yeah, it's really bad. It's justifiable, when in many years past and many games prior to this, every time they would say like, oh, this game that got a really good score ended up being complete and utter garbage and stuff. Like Veilguard, I think, got like a 9 out of 10. Concord got like a 7 out of 10. Okay, so it's kind of that sort of thing.
Yeah, but you're talking about one specific critic. Right. In one specific publication that did that.
Right, but the one that seems to be the one that they always are that's the one that always seems to be held up as like the gold standard for.
Right.
IGN scored Crimson Desert a 6. That same reviewer gave Concord a 7, a game that shut down within weeks. He then gave Highguard a 7, a game that lost 90% of its player base in days and shut down within 6 weeks. The same reviewer. Yeah, told you. Irrelevant.
Criticism in general is such a dead art form now because there's no barrier to entry. Like, yep. There's no vetting of these people. It's just random journalist gets put into a position of authority for some reason, and then like it's just because, oh, I'm writing for IGN, therefore you should take me seriously. But then it's like, well, what the? Clearly, the guy who's doing the reviews for IGN right now for these games should be fired. I mean, it's just it's one thing if you're a critic like that one dude who just is sort of constantly trolling.
Armand White.
Yeah, our guy.
Our
critic.
Our boy.
He's it's one thing to be that guy and that extreme and that predictably divisive and not contradictory, but opposing popular views by default. But like when you're trying to have this air of sophistication and legitimacy, the guys at IGN are just kind of a disaster.
Yeah. I think also, I feel like back in the day, like since everything has kind of moved online now, as opposed to back in the day where you had stuff like PC Gamer, and Electronic Gaming Monthly before it was owned by like, I was going to say FuncoLand, but FuncoLand got bought out by GameStop. GamePro was another one. A lot of the print publications, it seemed like each one had their own take on this, and the people that were writing it kind of had experience within the field. But now that since everything's online now, it seems like you were saying barrier of entry. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry that creates a profile and writes a review on it, especially on of these like Metacritic type of things, they can kind of, make themselves feel, oh, well, I'm a critic. And then like, I know for, for instance, Rotten Tomatoes a lot of times has these critics and they're like, oh, I'm writing for so-and-so thing. And they're like, you look up this website and you're like, I've never heard of this thing, but somehow they're supposed to be like, oh, yes, I have a press badge. But well, they're like curly and it says pull instead of press.
Well, I mean, it's just like just being self-published doesn't give you any sort of authority. And there are critics like, let's say, Yahtzee and Zero Punctuation or whatever it's called now, who have kind of established legitimacy because they have 5 years of weekly reviews that define a very specific taste that's consistent and reliable. Right. And so they've gained that kind of legitimacy. But these random people that just show up on X and have blogs and YouTube channels, aside from the handful of people who have like really established their own legitimacy because of the quality of their work over several years, which is how most critics should be. But instead, they kind of people just get put on these pedestals for no reason, and it's just kind of unfortunate that's where we're at.
It seems like people, well, like we grew up, Roger Ebert. He had been in the industry for decades, reviewing films and stuff like that. So he had a body of art, a body of work that was able to put up there. Now it's like a handful of reviews, and you're already shot up to the front of the line somehow for some reason. Mm-hmm. Right guy, right time. I don't know. That might be that, or maybe it's just some sort of weird nepotism. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Well, I also think that and that's one of the things that's been funny about this is that the critics, a lot of critics seem to have a lot of mainstream popular critics. I won't even say because look at these these IGN people. They were all the IGN Italia, these regional
IGN
IGNs,
Benelux,
Destructoid. There's a bunch of people who liked it, but a lot of publications that are kind of more famous were all grumpy about it. Right. And it's sort of is it because these critics are the modern audience types who aren't they do want Concord, they do want Highguard, they do want Veilguard, and so when a game kind of bucks that trend like this game kind of does, the Asian games seem to buck that trend. Do they get uppity about it and say no, bad, do not like? And then audiences who are wait a second, this is so refreshing. This is what we've wanted for so long.
Yeah. That has been mentioned a lot in things. Music, television, film, video games. Also, that quote unquote mysterious modern audience and stuff like that. That seems to exist, but doesn't ever seem to be actually. Consuming this particular product that's geared for them and made for them, where you see the sales figures for a lot of these, this media does not compare or doesn't come close to, what something such as, Crimson Desert ends up selling, or we can even go Elden Ring or any other types of, games of that similar type of genre. So then you have people people that enjoy these types of games are the ones that actually want to play these games, and when it becomes popular, everybody gets upset about that. It's there's the whole thing about stop liking the things I dislike or something like that, that type of thing. But I think also, like you were saying, that since this is made by a Korean studio, I have kind of been noticing over the past several years that there has been kind of this push against, or this kind of negative negative view now of Eastern developers from Asia. Japan, China and South Korea being, the big three that are doing that. We all know a lot of games that Tencent and Chinese studios make and stuff like that. South Korea has also been big on MOBAs and online games, and they're the developer of this particular game. Japanese developers have kind of been the ones that are sort of been able to kind of deflect a lot of that anti Eastern Asian developer kind of bucking of the trend. But I've noticed that a lot of the studios, a lot of them have kind of been well, really, if it's not something that's associated to or is Final Fantasy VII even, is kind of now sort of been meh, we don't want this, give us something different, like that. It seems to be we keep getting Final Fantasy games, but nobody wants to really, they're not as popular. So then when they send out Final Fantasy VII or something like that, that's what gets popular again. So I kind of feel a lot of the big games, they're these big hyped up games for modern audience, that were your Highguard, your Concord, your Veilguard, that when they fell flat on their face, they got really good ratings, but people, the users themselves, the players. Yes, I've played Nikke. I did unlock Volume. Also, I mean, come on, or what was the game recently? Uma Musume, about the horse girl racing game. I played that also.
But that's not. Is that super? That doesn't have budget.
No, it's a unique. It's like, okay, well, going back to that whole thing about yours. The jiggle physics in Nikkei is okay, but Uma Musume was something very different. We're taking a bunch of like anime waifus and we're turning them into like a horse racing simulator. I mean, that's how much different can you get from that? You know.
I hope your wife is listening to this.
She's playing Zelda.
Is Erica watching a movie or something next to you?
She's playing Zelda.
Oh, okay.
That's why there's this light show going on in the background.
Does she have headphones on?
No.
So she's just playing it in silence?
Kind of, yeah.
You guys are so funny. You guys like live with like silent movies.
No, it's fine.
Hi, Erica. I'm not making fun of her. I'm not making fun of you.
No, he was just asking if you were playing. Or if you're in the room. I was like, yeah, she's playing Zelda. That main screen actually looks pretty good. What?
Which Zelda is she playing?
Skyward Sword.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Is that the second one on Wii?
Yeah. Because the first one is Twilight Princess and the second one is Skyward Sword, which was kind of towards the end of its life, and then
Yep.
Yeah.
How many hours have you put into this game?
I have. Hold on. I've got this. I've got that up. Right around 25 hours.
Holy
currently.
Moly! Good for you.
Yep.
So you've put in more than the like 2 to 4 that most of these reputable video game journalists did.
Right. Which is basically, here's something I have to say about those 2 to 4 hours, and I kind of have this goofy tinfoil hat theory, is that a lot of these big AAA games, which would also include Red Dead 2, the first hour of the game is a lot of this expository like video cutscenes and stuff like that, setting up, telling you how to play the game. This is the button you press, this is what you do. I kind of feel like the developers put that in there so it tries to eat up that first 2 hours of refund time for Steam.
Oh.
I mean, it's probably not the case, but I'm like, why are there so many like this? And I mean, we all know Bethesda does that in every single game.
Because they're teaching you how to play the game.
Yeah, but they used to I could just go onto the settings and look at the buttons and stuff like that, or let me figure shit out on my own. But it's like, that's kind of what kills the momentum, I think, for a lot of people.
I guess, but I mean, I started playing Deus Ex. There we go. I started playing Deus Ex again, and that game spends a lot of time teaching you how to play the game. Yeah. So that's a very, I mean, certain like first person shooters, they're just like, here's how you jump, here's how you shoot, here's how you throw a grenade. All right, good luck, everybody. But like for more nuanced games, more complex mechanics, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
I will say though that Red Dead, I didn't play Red Dead 2, but Red Dead 1 spends a lot of time getting you up to speed for the story.
Yeah. Yeah. Red Dead 2, I was just like, oh god, John's lost on the mountain. Let's go save him from the wolves. Oh, we got this stuff. Arthur's such an idiot. Oh my god, I swear to God. That's a rant for another episode.
That's not this game.
But yeah, Crimson Desert. So the thing with Crimson Desert, it's kind of a combination of, I would say, a little bit of Elden Ring mixed with The Witcher, and then you kind of pass it through this East Asian, specifically Korean, fantasy filter, and that's kind of what you end up getting in the end. The storyline itself, like they said, there's not really much of a storyline. You're a member of this group called the Greymanes, who get kicked out of their homeland of Pyrrhun, I think it is, by another group called the Black Bears. They're kind of like these rival mercenary kind of groups or something like that. And you basically your entire group gets kind of dispersed, and you have to try to rebuild them and reclaim your homeland in this giant world called Pywell that's made up of various types of continents and kingdoms and lands and stuff like that. It is a fantasy setting. The world's primarily dominated by humans. There's also like these goblins and orcs, I would say they are, these really big like ogre type of creatures, but then there's also additional types of creatures and such like that, both real world creatures and also these kind of made up fantasy creatures. You could end up fighting bandits and thieves and stuff like that, and going on various types of kind of adventures and stuff. There's kind of these main storyline quests that you have to go on in order to get favor with these local lords, build up your camp, things like that. There is a tutorial stuff about learning how to use your powers, combat, and stuff like that. It's something. If you're somebody kind of like me who plays, like every time I play a Bethesda game or any of these open world type of games, I kind of just eschew the whole main storyline and I just go venturing out. Like the second I get out of like the vault, I'm like, let me go over there because there's some structure over there. I'm like, I don't care. Yeah, I have to go to this town, but I'm like, that thing is intriguing me first. I'm going to go there and stuff like that. Which, to be truthful, of the Bethesda games, apart from Starfield, when it comes to Elder Scrolls, I've beaten the main storylines of Elder Scroll games. I've never beaten the Fallout storylines. I know they exist, but I'm just having too much fun going through the world and taking a look and being like, what's over there, what's over there, what's over here. And I'm kind of doing the same thing here in this game.
Both. All right. Well, Fallout's a whole separate thing. Especially since in Fallout, you don't get locked out of the world if you finish the game.
Right.
So you can finish the main storyline and then you can go back and do side quests.
Do other stuff. Right. Yeah.
Although it closes stuff off, I'm sure, if you do it that way. But,
yeah, that's true.
Anyhow.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You made a comment about Elden Ring and
Witcher.
Red Dead, or Witcher in particular.
Red Dead, yeah.
But I've been hearing lots of people say that the big issue that's driving controversy here is that people want this to be an RPG, and it's not an RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of that is what you're saying, where the whole overarching plot, the whole overarching story is pretty weak. And what this really is sort of like a podcast game, as in something that I enjoy, which is like Rust or Minecraft,
mm-hmm.
where you can put on your headphones, listen to a YouTube video, listen to a podcast, go off into the world,
right?
Grind shit, or go off on tiny little missions that don't have a ton of dialogue driving them,
right?
And then, or venture out and almost like Red Dead, where if you stayed along a path for long enough, there'd be some random girl getting lynched or something, and then you run out to help her, and then it turned out that it was bait, and then she had
exactly,
and it's that kind of thing.
Yes, the speak of you remember this from Red Dead, where this guy's got some trouble with his wagon. It's like, my wheel and my wagon broke and I can't fix it. And can you help me? And you get off your horse, and the guy steals your horse, or three dudes come out. They're like, give us your money, and you gotta dead eye them and stuff. I had a girl. I was going out along this pathway in the southern part of the continent or the world, and this girl's like, oh, sir, I've been robbed and stuff like that. This thief is back there. And I go back there, and then she disappears, and these five guys come out wanting to steal my money. So of course I had to shish kebab them, but it was me or them. So yeah, so there are some things like that. There are a lot of those kind of side quest type of things. Yeah, I need you to take this note over there. I need you to take this item from here to there. Those type of things. There's various types of some of the houses in this main starting kingdom have these kind of individual type of commissions that they send you on. It's like, we need you to clear out this area of bandits. We need you to go and cut down these pieces, get this certain amount of wood or something like that. There's also these there's bounties available that you need to steal these people that were found, that need to be brought to justice and brought to the jail and stuff like that, or the constabulary, I guess you would call them. So there is a lot of that type of stuff too. The interesting thing about this compared to a lot of other games, and I can't quite speak for Elden Ring because I've never played Elden Ring, but like with The Witcher, is that when you defeat enemies, you get experience points. Here, you don't really get experience points. A lot of the bonusing and increasing of your I guess your skills or arm, like defense and attack skills, are as you basically upgrading your armor, upgrading your weapons, or then also getting certain items that are able to increase your like your stats and stuff like that. But you can't just kind of just farm enemies to get stuff. You'll get items, but not XP from that, because that kind of doesn't exist.
I mean, like my primary experience with RPGs is like Skyrim and Fallout, and where you're putting points into, you're kind of customizing your character into, I'm going to make them have more charisma and be good with hand-to-hand comment and sneak. You know what I mean? And you start forming a character that's specialized in certain areas more so than others. And so this game doesn't operate that way. And I it's weird to me because that does not, my bigger issue, if I was going into this blind, is I do like the big overarching story, and I want that to be good. I like the story in Fallout 4. I like the story in Fallout 3. I like New Vegas. I like the Outer Worlds. You know what I mean? Like those games, I do like that stuff. I do like the writing in that. However, if I had been told, like I had read about recently because of you, that it is more in the podcast gaming area of you can do other things or have other entertainment while you're doing it, that changes my expectations so much where now I'm kind of like, oh, I'm a little curious about this game. Yeah,
this game, from a lot of the preview videos, it showed you a lot of the gameplay and what you can do in the game itself, rather than talking specifically about any type of storyline of any sort.
Well,
a lot of people, some people have kind of said that this is sort of like a more grandiose version of the game Valheim, which I don't think either of us have played.
Was that the voxel game?
I think so. It's kind of like a Viking themed game, I guess.
I recall, it was like a voxel based Valheim survival game. Valheim. Where's the Wikipedia, please? As I recall, it one of its big things was that.
Oh, there it is.
Upcoming. Wikipedia.
To the right. If you click on overview, it's got a link there to the wiki page.
There we go.
Survival sandbox game.
Right, but again, let's just do this. No? Huh. Maybe I'm making that up. Yes. Basically, it's it's sort of like those it's just more destructive physics are easier in voxel-based games. So that's why I was like, I remember it being, that was the selling point when it first came out. I guess they kind of moved away from it. Nobody probably cared that much, but I mean, that makes sense then that that's what this is kind of being. The other thing that I was told, and that seems to be true, is that originally this game was being developed as an MMO.
Correct.
Okay. Correct. So that again, all of this makes sense. That the grinding, the just put on something in the background while you're running around the kingdom taking side quests.
Yeah. There's a lot of. I mean, it's a very huge open. I haven't gotten to the actual Crimson Desert portion of the map. It's a very far distant area and stuff like that. I've pretty much just been in the main starting kingdom itself and kind of traveled a little bit out of it and such like that. I had read that they said that the story, it was like you said, it was going to be developed as another MMO. I don't know how it would have factored how Black Desert Online would have been affected by this, but then they were saying that the basically the primary storyline of the game, the central storyline, was kind of a last-minute type of decision that they ended up doing. And you can definitely tell in a lot of this. I also think that a lot of the criticism, the biggest thing that people have been saying is the actual control scheme for the game. It's kind of a pain in the butt on controller. I've heard it's a little bit easier on mouse and keyboard, but the control scheme... No?
I thought it was the other way around.
Oh, I've heard people
the mouse
have...
and keyboard was like non-functioning.
Oh, worse. Okay.
And but I thought this all got patched in a recent update.
There was, I think with the recent updates, since I think it was like a couple days afterwards, they've fixed a lot of the issues that people have had. One of the major things was the issue of fast travel, where on the map you can go to various things and you can find this platform that allows you to teleport from point A to point B to another portal and stuff like that. That has basically, they've increased the number of those. They've increased, what was the other thing? There were some issues with like the performance and stuff like that.
They added a way to, they added storage.
Storage also was another thing, yeah.
Which just seems obvious.
Yeah, I don't know how storage would have been handled, but I know in the game itself, you have X amount of boxes in your on-person inventory. Right. In order to increase them, you buy these little bags from vendors that increases your inventory, or you can complete certain types of quests, and that'll like automatically give you like 3 extra spaces. But
but there was
not
like
a stationary thing.
Yeah, there was a chest where you could take things out of that you had like missed from completed missions or something, but you couldn't deposit anything in it, so you were kind of forced to just keep adding to this giant inventory on your character, which it just flies in the face of established open world concept management.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's especially since we've always been used to that in a lot of games.
I mean, every game.
Yeah, that's true.
Aside from games, I mean, like Zelda, like the original Zelda had a fixed number of slots, but each slot had one thing that went into it, and then you were done. Like it was, you only had 12 items to collect.
Yeah.
But so that kind of leads me to another question, because one of the things that people are really praising is that the devs are listening and reacting to player feedback, and instead of saying, "Oh, we'll take that into consideration," you get a big patch 2 or 3 days after launch that instantly addresses direct complaints that people had, and instead of saying, "Oh, we'll think about it," they say, "We're sorry that we didn't do that to begin with. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, it was a massive oversight. Yeah,
it's like they take account. There's accountability, which is something that Western developers seem to be totally incapable of doing.
Starfield.
I mean, all of them.
All of
the one. Half of the time, a game does poorly, they just point to the users, to the audience, to the gamers, and say, "You're wrong. You're mean. You're hateful. You're cruel." Instantly it gets political, and to be fair, sometimes it is like sometimes the reaction from gamers is political or ideological, let's say, but that position loses a lot of legitimacy when the game itself is broken or doesn't work or is just like written by like terrible 12-year-old girls.
So I'm non-binary. What does that mean?
One thing that kind of reminds me of, I think it was at the Game Awards like last year, not this year, but the one that I think it was Baldur's Gate 3 won when they won that, and somebody, I think it might have been Ubisoft or somebody from another big time AAA studio said, like, you know, don't expect a big time studio compared to somebody like Larian that made Baldur's Gate. Don't expect like one of the big AAA studios to be able to like deliver something like they did. And it's like, well, why can't you? Like, you have more staff, more resources, more funding compared to a studio like that. Why aren't you capable of doing that? Is it because you just don't want to? Like, is it really like a matter of like creativity and originality, or is it some other type of thing? I find it a little odd that somebody would do that, because then they're kind of like, don't expect any quality from us, just buy and play whatever stuff we put out there, regardless of, you know, the dubious quality of the product and such like that. There was another thing that they kind of Pearl Abyss kind of got a slap on the wrist about that recently, is that they found out that a lot of the artwork in the game that you find on houses and stuff was done by AI, and it's very obvious and it's very sloppy looking. So they've gotten backlash about that, and Expedition 33 got flack about that too, because people found out that they used AI for some of their elements in their game too, even though it was like a very highly praised and stuff like that. Now a lot of people are kind of poo-pooing at that. Yeah, Game of the Year in a lot of different places. But I think that's kind of like another thing that some of these studios, and I wouldn't necessarily put it past some of the big AAAs to like not do this at all, because they've, you know, yeah. Which after it was weird too, because with Marathon, like once everybody crapped on them, even when they apologized in the way that, you know, modern Bungie apologized. They redid it's supposedly redid all that stuff. So everybody's like, oh, it looks so much better now. I'm just like, my eyes are still bleeding.
Okay. So with the AI stuff, I find baffling for several reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I work, and partially because I deal with this in my industry. I work in the advertising, creative, post-production world, and very consistently the topic comes up about using AI generated content. And I always say and I'm an editor, I will do whatever you ask, but I'm here to be the first audience member and say, are you sure you want to do it this way? And I'm often like, okay, we can use AI to do this. We can use AI to fill in this gap. We can use it to like mimic this dialogue or whatever you want to do. But I have to point out that
caveat:
everyone who does this gets in trouble eventually.
Right.
And
yeah.
I'm not taking a ethical or moral position whatsoever on this topic. I don't fucking care. I think it's weird that people are so mad about it when Adobe, for example, builds in AI generating into their products. And so as a content producer, as an editor, as a graphics person, I'm like, okay, so here's all these things that the creative company is giving me, these tools, but the audience for some reason is telling me I can't use them.
Yeah.
I think that's a little weird. But I don't care. Like I don't have no strong opinion. So if the audiences say we don't like this, we think this is unethical, then I just say, okay, fine, this is unethical, and I don't care, like whatever. But I have to tell my clients, and I have to tell producers all the time, dude, why are you doing this? This is just going to get you in trouble. And they tend to. Here's what happens, especially
what's the reason behind that?
Well, no, producers just say, F it, we're going to do it's cheaper. We're going to do it this way. And they get very like standoffish, like the audience, we're going to do it. I'm going to do it my way. And then about 7 hours later, 12 hours later, it's like, never mind, take it all out. Like I think they probably don't know what's going on. And so they think that like, whatever, this guy's just making shit up. And then they go off like the next night or that night, they look up something on Google and they read about what happened to Marathon. They read about what happened to this or that, or like movies where they find AI generated shit in the background, like for posters. There was some movie where they used AI to make like fake movie posters in the background, and they never replaced it. And big, public outcry over that. And so these producers eventually come back and say, never mind. Let's just license something and put it in the background.
Right.
Which then begged to me, if I was the editor working on a video game, I'd say we can't just put a big red X in these spots that need placeholder art. Because if we forget about this and it gets published, everyone's getting in trouble. We're all going to have to deal with the angry comments on X. You know, so it's not worth it. Just put big red X's where there needs to be art replaced. and then put the real art there. You don't need to use AI generated shit. And if you're a professional at this level and you need to see fake artwork to visualize what it's going to look like, that's so amateur.
Mm-hmm.
That's the shit that you do for some dude who just does not understand what the Big Red X means. Like that's amateur shit, that you need to generate fake artwork to take the place so that people can wrap their heads around what it's going to look like. That is bullshit.
Yeah. Well, back to your point about like Adobe. I remember that there was like that uproar. I guess I don't know what happened to the uproar or what the consequences, but they found out that like Adobe Cloud, like it was like anything you upload to it automatically becomes property of Adobe. And it's just like, what are they using that for?
I don't know if it ever became property of Adobe as much as it might have been used for reference for AI.
Oh, okay.
I don't because making it property of Adobe seems very illegal and and on the other hand, I would say, well, if you use the cloud, then you kind of get what you deserve.
Yeah. Local storage only.
Local storage only. As the saying goes, the cloud is just somebody else's computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But yeah, so the AI stuff, I don't have a strong opinion on I'm not someone who's like, oh my God, they used AI. You stole money from artists. You're an evil company. I don't have necessarily that reaction to it. My reaction is, why would you even put yourself in the position when you should know what the public's perception is of using AI content? Like,
and kind of the industry, also a lot of the industry too, like their opinion about like AI and stuff. I know there's certain elements of that particular industry that, like you were saying, like they're like, whatever, but then there's also a larger group that's also like, Mm-mm.
See, it's funny because I almost find that while there is a vocal group, especially fine artists like painters, illustrators like that discipline, those people, they hate it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But like in the world of post-production and so like motion graphics, editors, audio people, music people, sound designers, there's this that group is kind of like it's here, and it's sort of like I feel like my observation is the cat's out of the bag. The genie's out of the bottle, and this is how it is. And so we can drag our feet for as long as we need to, but it's not going away. It may change. There may be harsher rules in the future, but it's not going away.
I kind of think of this situation, this AI situation in the creative sphere, sort of the way when they start in animation, when they started moving away from hand-drawn animation to computer animation, which there is still physical writing that takes place, but a lot of that is also assisted by the computer program, correct? For the animation?
Depends on
the program that they're using.
Depends on what studio's doing it.
Because I remember there was a behind the scenes thing for Shrek 2 specifically, and they were saying like,
oh, you're talking about 3D animation?
Like 3D animation. Yeah.
Oh,
when
see,
they were doing
I was
that.
picturing digital 2D
not
animation.
Like, no, not digital 2D. I'm thinking like,
okay, well,
which is more of like a Western, again, West versus East. But I remember when they were talking about Shrek 2, and they were saying like, hey, with Shrek 1, we had to do 12 different frames in order for Shrek to move his arm. And now we just do like 1, 2, and 3, beginning, middle, and end, and then they're like, the thing just fills in by itself.
That's
almost like it was like DLSS back.
Well, I mean,
back 20 years ago.
Tweening. It's it's setting keyframes. That's technically true. I think that at this point, there's not much of a difference. I think that in order to do animation the way that you see now, everything's kind of it's kind of the same idea as 2D animation, where you are, if you have 24 frames of animation, you're keyframing 12 of those. You know what I mean? And so it's what is that on the 2? Is it every other frame is a new frame, something like that.
DLSS.
I'm not a professional animator. I'm
right.
It's not my forte, but for like normal like 2D graphics, like you have a title that comes up and says Culture Doom. It's like you keyframe that tiny little words, and then you keyframe the big words, and it fills in that zoom of the letters getting bigger. You're not like filling that in manually.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing, like, yeah, I mean, there's it's when VHS came out in movie theaters and television. Everyone was afraid that it was going to just destroy the industry with bootlegs.
Yeah.
And then the irony being that the movie theaters and the studios kind of committed suicide with streaming. Like, they did it to themselves. They didn't just say, we're not going to release stuff on streaming. We're going to just release it in theaters for the first. And then after the first, I mean, like, if you're Warner Brothers, let's say, or
they've been in the news recently.
They've been in the news recently. But if you're in charge of a studio and you say, all right, streaming's the thing, but here's how we're going to do this. There is a 6-month distribution window for movie theater. For our new movies are going to be in theaters for 6 months. After 6 months, they will go to Blu-ray for the first 3 months. And then after their Blu-ray run, the bottom of the barrel is going to be Netflix streaming. Yeah. And then we'll be open to distribution on Netflix. And we're not going to make our own streaming services.
Yeah.
Mysteriously, everything kind of works, but they got greedy and they wanted their own streaming shit. So fuck them.
Do you remember when we were kids and we went to see, like, I'll just throw this, Speed, the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves. Mm-hmm. How many months, do you know off the top of your, since you work in that industry, how many months did it go from the initial box office release of the film to VHS? Yeah.
Oh man, I want to say for something like Speed.
Yeah, and it was a big movie, so yeah, I mean, it might have been a little couple of month difference between that and something
I would want to say it would take like 8 months to get. So if it came out in June,
8 to 9 months at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be kind of like that 6 months and then 3 months and then.
Speed movie release date. So Speed was released. We'll just do the math together. Speed was released June 10th of 1994. Okay, so June. VHS release date. November of 1994.
August of 96. So, wow.
Wait, what do you mean August of 96?
Oh, VHS. Okay, I'm sorry. Widescreen version came out in 96. All right.
Yeah, no. So November of 94. So that is June, July, August, September, October, November. 6 months.
6 months. Okay, but it was because it was a big blockbuster hit.
Sure.
So I'm guessing like movies, like lesser movies, kind of took a little bit longer to.
But the thing is I'm wondering, the initial releases on VHS were for rental only.
Mm-hmm.
And so does that mean there was a window, so November and December, January, let's say, was all rental for Speed, and then you could own it on VHS in 95?
February, March, yeah.
Release date to own. Let's see if yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't say. I know that Blockbuster in their little catalog, it would be like you could buy the VHS from Blockbuster when the first day it came out for rental, but for like $200. It was that kind of thing. Like you could buy it, but it wasn't home purchase yet, you know.
Mm-hmm. You know what's, now that I just mentioned Speed, since people are kind of on this nostalgia kick and they made Twisters, they should make a Speed 3 and get Keanu and Sandra back together, put them on like a bullet train or something like that. I know there's a movie called Bullet Train and all that, but it's like, do like a maglev or something like that. like something, this like transcontinental thing. They're like, oh, we have this special train and it goes all the way from like, okay, just to get the Chinese audience, we're going to say it's going to be going from like Beijing across like Eurasia and ending all the way in like, it's like Paris or some shit. I don't know. But you can make something like that. I mean, people like a action thriller type of thing, getting the band back together.
Speed 3.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Speed 2?
I know it exists.
I saw Speed 2 in a movie theater and I was horrified.
As a young boy.
As a young boy.
Young
I was
teenager.
probably like 10 or 11 years old when that movie came out. And all I remember is watching the ending of not Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Who's she? Who's the
Sandra
woman?
Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. I just confused these people. Sandra Bullock on the cruise liner crashing through the town and thinking this is the most ridiculous, stupid shit that I've ever seen.
And then they made Titanic.
Titanic. The last question I had for you, because I was watching a video today on YouTube by Audran, 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 I think. I watched 1, 2, 3, 4. I watched 4 videos about Crimson Desert today to be up to speed with your review. I watched a video.
Did you watch Baldy's video?
No, I did not.
The Rich King.
You already asked me that earlier.
I know.
You really want me to. I watched Veteran Joystick.
Okay.
I watched Mug Thief. Neon Knight. Do you know any of these people? And Audran.
I think maybe Audran, I've heard his name.
As a dad of 2 with a full-time job, I don't have a lot of time to play video games anymore.
Veteran Joystick was the most informative I found. So check out his video.
So definitely not us, that's for sure.
No, we're not informative. We're here to entertain, not inform.
Yeah, we're that background podcast you can be listening to while you're playing the game.
We're the background podcast you can listen to when you're listening to a better podcast.
Yeah. It's like I was riding my horse through this meadow and I was hunting some creatures and somebody was talking about Sandra Bullock, but he thought she was Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
We're the
Juliette
podcast.
Lewis.
We're the podcast you can put on mute while you listen to the quests being given to you.
While you vacuum.
While you vacuum.
I can't hear the vacuum motor.
We're the perfect podcast to listen to while you vacuum.
Yep.
But anyway, what I was getting at is Audran was talking about the merits of it being a game for dads. And
Yeah.
do you think that there's you're a father of 2?
Yeah.
Do you think that there's any credence to like do you think that it fits into the lifestyle of a father?
Oh yeah. It's definitely because we kind of I was talking to my friend at work and I was talking about like Rust and how we like to play a particular server on Rust that's kind of geared towards dads that have a busy lifestyle. They still want to be able to play and enjoy the games that they used to, but because life, professional work, family, all that stuff, they only have a couple hours at night before they have to go to bed. So that particular server kind of speeds up a lot of the resource gathering. You can build your beautiful little your bothy and not have to worry about it getting flamethrowered and exploded up. So this one's kind of the same, where it kind of lets you just go out into this world that's been created and just kind of live this sort of medieval fantasy life and just kind of just chill. It's a very decompressing type of game. Yes, picking up items are kind of frustrating because you have to be right in front of an item. But there is, if you hold like on the controller, if you hold left bumper, then you kind of have your hand highlight different stuff and you can manually control that. I guess the world itself would be kind of compared to like a Japanese isekai, where there's a certain level of like fantasy element to it, but not where it's just crazy fantasy thing and stuff like that. And like I said, there could be. I do know that there's mechs in the game and firearms. I have not come across it yet, but it's a game that's you kind of just play and play and play. I would say it's, since it was kind of being developed as an MMORPG, I would say that it's definitely a single player offline RPG MMO.
Right.
So it's you can tell because there's very large areas. That was, the towns would have been like the hubs, like you do comparatively, like World of Warcraft and stuff like that. You got some look at the drip on that man. He's wearing a dead elk's head on his head. I think I sent you the picture of what I was wearing and stuff.
I was gonna say I was very intrigued by the character design that you sent me for your
and you can pop that right there at this segment. Now, anyways, but yeah, it's definitely like I said, let's explore some ruins. Let's go and look at some stuff. Is there some sort of hidden cave behind this waterfall? So I definitely agree with that type of thing. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I'm not a father, but like you were saying, that Rust server that we play on occasionally, I was somebody who for a very long time, and I still kind of feel this way, but there was this idea that they were going to make games that you could put on easy mode and you just play it, and it's for people who don't want to have any resistance and don't just want to get the story and stuff. Philosophically, I still do have a problem with that because I feel like gameplay is tied to the story for most games, and I would feel weird if people were playing. For example, if there was a story mode for Dark Souls, I feel like that is so contradictory to the spirit of the game, that it would make it weird that it even existed. However, for games like Minecraft and Rust and apparently Crimson Desert, where it is just kind of a sandbox game in a lot of ways, and you can do your own thing and just like live your life, or you can go on adventures. Like when we play Rust, we can build our house and decorate it, and then we can, grind and get guns and then go attack scientists and stuff like that. So you can do that, but you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. So that kind of game, I'm kind of like, I don't mind there being a peace mode,
Yeah. Also, with the enemies in this game, they do not level with you.
Cool.
They're basically like, you start off and you're
fixed.
They're fixed. If the bigger and scarier they look, the probably bigger and scarier they are. I know I've one commission from one of the, like a duke or a head of a house, where he's like, I need you to go and kill this guy at this quarry, and I look at it, I'm like, it looks like a robotic drilling machine. It kind of looks like one of the Big Daddies almost from BioShock. Gotcha. And I'm like, I don't feel quite confident to do that. I've only fought one boss so far, and that was part of the main storyline. And the bosses themselves, actually no, I fought the Reed demon. So the bosses themselves, the way they play is that they kind of feel like a bit of a toned down version of Elden Ring bosses. So there is a pattern that they do. There's if you get within a certain distance close to them, they do some stuff. If you're further away, they do different attacks. So there is some of these, you have to dodge, and then here's your opportunity to go in and attack. And you can upgrade your movements and attacks the more times you find these certain types of, I forget what they are, but they're like these cubes that you're able to unlock and get more power. Or like I said, you just do whatever you need to do to upgrade your armor and your weapons and stuff like that to kind of compensate for that difference. Or there's always the old adage of get good, scrub. So, and like I said, if you're getting your ass beat, it's probably not at this time that you need to do this. There's no difficulty scaler like you have in a lot of other games.
Oh, that's good. Okay, well then, so at 25-ish hours of gameplay, how many pots of gold? And maybe we'll revisit this in 6 months. Maybe at the end of the year episode, because you paid $70 for this, and as much as I'm interested in this game, I'm not gonna pay $70 to play alongside you.
Yeah, I'm going to go and say, like, if you want to play this game at a much cheaper price, and also have an actual central story, I would advise people just to go and pick up Witcher 3. It would be a lot of similar things, You played
Witcher?
Yeah, I've played. I haven't played the first one, but I've played the second and the third one.
Oh,
I have it on GOG, so but I think a lot of similar type of things, similar type of world, characters, weapons, all that stuff. There's the magic element and stuff like that. Probably do that. It is another open world type of thing. But this one, it's like, you want to take some of the Witcher type of open world sandboxy stuff, remove the story, and just kind of, make your own path. If you want to try out this game, do get it if it's on sale sometime on Steam or whatever type of platform you have it, do that. I do feel like the $70 price point it's a little, yeah, it is what it is, but then you're kind of wondering, well, there's always talk about when are the games going to start hitting $100, and I would not be surprised if GTA 6 comes out and it's same price or more or whatever.
I don't know. In this economy,
people will buy it though.
That's stupid.
I know.
I'm sorry,
I know.
That's stupid.
I know.
I
But
think it's worth
that franchise just prints money. It's basically the U.S. Mint at this point.
It's so weird to me. I don't want to get into this topic, but it's just so weird to me because as much as like I played Grand Theft Auto 1, 2, and 3.
Vice City?
No. Or is 3 Vice City?
3 was the one with like the mute protagonist. I think what was his name, Leon or something like that. Kind of gave him Carl or whatever.
No, I did play GTA 3. I didn't play Vice City. That's what it is.
Okay.
It was the other way around. So I played 1, 2, and 3, and then 4.
Okay.
And that was it.
Okay.
I did not play San Andreas.
Oh, that's my favorite.
I didn't have a PlayStation.
Yeah, that was crazy because they released GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas all on PS2.
Okay,
we got spoiled then, boys.
Well, 3 was on Xbox. That's how I played it.
Okay.
So it might have been at like years after the fact, but I think I bought it from not Funko Land, Disc Replay. I bought it with actually.
Yeah.
I have a picture of her playing it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny to me because as much as I like Grand Theft Auto in certain ways, it's not a game that I like have a strong connection to. And so to me, hearing it's $100, I would just laugh in the face of the Grand Theft Auto of not Take-Two, Rockstar. Because I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Who's paying $100 to play this?
Yeah.
Or whatever.
But, we still don't really know that much about the game itself. So it's probably in its benefit.
The new beginnings.
So how many pots of gold, my friend?
Right now, I'm going to go ahead and give this a baseline 3 out of 4.
Great.
The big issues are, yes, the main storyline, lack of rather, the price point currently, but like I said, get it on sale. The control scheme, though, is going to be very frustrating. The inventory management, which they're kind of fixing, and hopefully they're going to do something with the control scheme on both keyboard and controller, because a lot of times it's almost like you're playing a fighting game, trying to do these inputs and stuff like that. But like I said, it is for somebody who's like, I want to play a game, lose myself in it, and I'm like, I've got, you've got time to devote to it. Got nothing else that's caught your eye, go ahead and try it out. But at the same time, realize it is made by an Asian developer, so it kind of falls within some of those trappings where if you've ever played some of those gachapon games, there's not really much storylines for these gachapon games either. I've played Withering Waves, and I've played ZZZ, and I've played what's the big one? Genshin. Honkai
Genshin
Star Rail
Impact.
also. Yeah, they're all these convoluted, type of things and stuff, and they have some type of story. We've got to save the world from this evil force. It's like, okay,
no, it's always
rinse and repeat.
It's teenagers have to kill God. That's the usual story.
Yeah. But there's something that gets people to play them, and this kind of has the same thing. But like I said, if you want to have something that's tighter, better control, storyline, go and get Witcher 3 if you haven't already played it a million times at this point. So, and that's made by a Western developer.